starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Monday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. It is officially March. And for Mizzou, March is going to be relevant. It's going to be a relevant March for Mizzou fans. And that we should celebrate.
Starting to look that way, isn't it? We go into a game on Saturday that we said, hey, possible trap game, coin flip by the metrics, lesser opponent, but you're on the road, got to play well. Oh, my gosh.
Did they play well?
Andy, they gave me the most stress-free Mizzou game of my life. Thank you, Missouri Basketball Tigers, for that gift on Saturday. Wow.
I mean, that was, as far as a half of basketball, to make the second half does not even matter in a road game like that. Pretty impressive stuff. We're going to talk about it here in a few minutes. We're going to talk about the week that's coming up for Mizzou and everything that's in front of it. It's all in front of them. Double bye, moving up in seeding, potentially in the NCAA tournament. A lot is still on the table for Mizzou basketball. We'll get to it. We're going to talk Cardinals today, Brendan.
Let's do that too.
Yeah.
We got some Cardinals news, don't we?
We do have some Cardinals news that everyone is happy about. Everybody. Every single Cardinals fan.
Don't get me started on the reaction.
That Oli Marmol has received a contract extension.
Hey, there we go, Oli.
What do you know? We're going to talk.
See that.
We're going to talk about why everyone agrees that is the right move.
They all see it my way. They
exactly. At 5:05. Chiefs news today also trying to get underneath that cap still, or at least have some cap space to play with, and that means moving on from Jawaan Taylor, it would appear.
Aww.
Yeah. Those flags every single game. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that anymore, Chiefs fans.
This one's like the first one that we're like okay, sigh of relief.
We'll talk about that. We'll have Larissa Anderson of Mizzou softball joining us at 5:45. Call or text us today. Lots to get to. 875-5847. You can also tweet us at KTGR Sports. See us live right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. We're also live on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Things are definitely looking up for Mizzou men's basketball after an 88-64 victory on the road over Mississippi State. That gave the Tigers their 20th overall win and their 10th win in conference play, and it puts them fourth in the SEC standings. They're technically tied for fourth with Kentucky and Tennessee, but they have the tiebreak on both of those teams. So if it started this week, the men's SEC tournament, Mizzou would have the double bye as the number 4 seed right now, but still 2 more games to play. At Oklahoma on Tuesday. Saturday, they will take on Arkansas on Senior Day at Mizzou Arena. We'll see how they finish out. Meanwhile, Mizzou women's basketball finished out the regular season yesterday. Fought hard against number 7 Oklahoma, but fell by 6 points. They're the 14 seed this week in the SEC tournament. They play Alabama Wednesday night. That's the Big Show's big deal on this second day of March 2026. Call or text us here at 573-875-KTGR. Seriously, on Saturday, there was no stress at all.
None.
They started on a 9-0 run. They were up 11-2 at the media timeout, the first one there. Next media timeout, they were up 20-6. Next one, they were up 33-12. Like that. That's how you do it. When you go on the road and you need a win and you want to take care of business, that is the definition of taking care of business, to the point where second half didn't matter. Technically, they were outscored in the second half. Okay, whatever. Still won by 24.
That's like when you go up on a big run in baseball, you're up 15-1, and they put a position player in just to finish out the game because it doesn't matter. You could take your foot off the gas a little bit when you have a lead like that. To play a half that good, where, like you said, the second half just isn't even relevant to the outcome, is almost unheard of, especially to do it on the road in a conference game. I get it. Mississippi State's not having the best season. They're going to be toward the bottom of the table. They're playing on Wednesday in Nashville. We know this. but they've got capable scorers, and Missouri just bullied them. I mean, bullied them out of their own building before the halftime bell. That was impressive. And like you said, stress-free, just never a doubt. In a game that was, we have to remind ourselves, Andy, like the point spread was one. Mizzou was favored, but it was a point. I mean, they have done this a couple of times recently where you're like, man, they're outperforming expectations to the point that we maybe should adjust our expectations. When you realize, like, they were underdogs when they beat Tennessee and Vanderbilt at home. They were underdogs on the road against A&M, and they were a 1-point favorite in a game over the weekend where they had it sewn up by halftime. That is remarkable.
Call or text us with what you think here on the Big Show about Mizzou's win. Look, it was a prime spot for them to also have a performance like that. I mean, it takes both teams to create a game like Mizzou won and was the better part of. Like it was a real sleepy gym. Humphrey Coliseum was not very lively. It was noon. It was,
your namesake. I mean, you hate to see that.
Right. I mean, I was also lazy at noon as well, so I can't really judge that much on Saturday. But, and again, like it's a team that's kind of trending downward. They know what they're up against. They're not going to make the tournament. They're just trying to see out the rest of the season, get some sort of momentum and like whatever. But that still is a spot where Mizzou could mimic its opponent in that sense of like how you come out right out of the gate, but they didn't. No, we
talked about that.
Like business trip. Like they did not shy away from anything that they were supposed to be doing in that situation, and that is the mark of a well-coached team.
Yeah,
right?
I gotta give credit there. You gotta give credit there.
What you do.
This could have been a trap. This could have been they could have gone in with the mindset of Mississippi State isn't playing for anything. This is going to be a snooze. We'll roll out of bed and win this game. And it is kind of what happened. But if you come out that way, it's why Friday, I rarely say anything smart on this show, but I said I think a fast start can be something that gets Mississippi State sort of, they'll feel the inevitability of what their season has become. And you got to convince them of that early so that they don't wake up at halftime in a tie game or a one-possession game and think, hey, we can go win a basketball game today. We can surprise some people. We can do something that, maybe it doesn't reflect on what our whole season ended up being, but we can be proud of what we're doing out there today. And they sapped the life out of them. I mean, they sapped the will to compete out of the Bulldogs early with the scoring, and they were doing it on rebounding. They were the aggressor in just about every instance. It was really, really impressive to see. And you're right, Dennis Gates deserves credit for that because we have seen Missouri win an emotional game, win a game that feels, whether they're an underdog at A&M and they come back in the next one and everybody's kind of giving them their flowers. Oh, man, there's the egg against Texas. That's a probable tournament team as well. But we use that as sort of the guide to say, look, the win over Tennessee was an impressive, emotional type of win on your home floor. How do you respond in the next one now that everybody's telling you you're great? They played great. I mean, that is coaching, the way that they were clearly prepared for that moment. The fact that they win by 24 doesn't minimize that it was a coin flip coming in by every discernible metric and every way that you could look at that, including what we've seen from this conference this year and in years past, that it is difficult to go on the road and win no matter who you're facing. So by every mark, Dennis Gates had the guys ready to go, and they performed.
Call or text us here at 875-KTGR with your thoughts on Mizzou winning convincingly in Starkville, and as a result, they have cleared the bubble, according to most bracketologists. They don't include Joe and Ari does not include them in the last four buys or last four in or anything like that. They're above those teams, slated as I would think probably a 10 seed, maybe a 9 right now, as it would seem.
They got to pick a lane here if they want to stick in the 10 range or if they're going to go.
But here's the thing.
Have some gusto to get beyond the 8-9.
That's, I think, what is in front of them. Like, again, if they winning out could absolutely allow them to do it, or just like it. I mean, you're obviously scoreboard watching mostly for the SEC this week and standings there. Can you get a double bye, whatever?
Yeah.
You're not necessarily looking at bubble teams anymore, but I think you are looking at teams that are on the 8-9 line. If they start to lose and you can wiggle your way up by continuing to win, like that's meaningful. And if you can keep that going, then Mizzou's got a shot. I would not advise them to shoot the moon and lose games if they know that only the 8-9 is their ceiling. Do not do that.
Because the committee will burn you then just when you think you're safe. But
Don't
like
do that.
the games that they have remaining, notwithstanding if they end up with the 5 seed in Nashville, they're playing against a 12 or a 13, and that might end up being a little bit lesser than, in terms of like the quality of that loss on a neutral floor. But, Oklahoma has kept up doing what it needed to do to make sure that this game remains a quad 1 game on the road tomorrow night at 6 p.m. They beat LSU by 16 on the road on Saturday. That was the outcome that there's no doubt now about how that Oklahoma game ends up being viewed. That's a tough team to go and play the way that they're playing basketball right now. They're almost as high in the net rankings as Missouri. Missouri's 53, Oklahoma's 62. We've talked about the reasons why the net is not the end-all be-all when it comes to an NCAA tournament resume anymore, but it is a quad 1 game at Oklahoma and obviously quad 1 when you're hosting Arkansas. So you can't suffer a bad loss. I guess you could play badly in those games and have that maybe reflect, but largely, I think they've gotten to the requisite number, 10 conference wins with 2 games to spare. Now it's gravy. Now can you really improve that resume to the point that people will be you and Bubble just continue to go further and further apart in opposite directions so that that's not even a consideration for anybody by the time we get to Selection Sunday. That's what's in front of Missouri now as an opportunity.
It certainly could be a key win. It's even projected to be less likely of a win than them beating Arkansas at home. Ken Pom says they have a 38% chance of winning tomorrow and a 40% chance of winning Saturday. And
Missouri's not going to be favored in this game tomorrow.
No,
I mean, they're going to be a slight road underdog, which bring it on. I mean, that's been kind of the MO. It again, as much as we can give credit to Gates, it is difficult to keep your guys up each and every game when you're in this type of gauntlet of a schedule. To be able to look back over the past month plus and say, the only game they didn't show up for was Texas. That's the only game that you go, I don't know, laid an egg. It happens. Every other game they showed up and they won them all except at Arkansas, where I still say, our conversation about that game the following Monday was that, look, man, they played a really good Arkansas team that had an A game and they fell a little bit short. Gates has had these guys ready. I will be so curious to see whether they are able to do it again tomorrow night. And as Samuel mentions, an opportunity to finish above 500 in road games in SEC play. Is that real? I mean, that's real. That's
They're 4-4 right now.
That is you do that, man. I don't get me out of here with this 9 seed, 10 seed stuff. I mean, that would be a really impressive feather in your cap.
Yeah, beat Kentucky, beat A&M, beat South Carolina, and just now beat Mississippi State. So a chance to go and do that against Oklahoma. I mean, again, they're projected to lose by 4, according to Ken Pom. Like, it won't even be like a spot where, maybe Mizzou works it down to like a 2.5, maybe even a 1.5 point spread because Mizzou's been playing really well.
Yeah, Missouri's going to get some love from bettors, I think, to make it lower than what Ken Pom projects. But Oklahoma is playing some really good basketball. They've got consecutive wins over LSU, as we mentioned, by 16 on the road. They beat Auburn by 12 at home the previous Tuesday. They did lose at home, but it was to a tournament caliber team in A&M by 4. So, I mean, their recent results have been pretty solid, and they've picked off some teams. We know they beat Vanderbilt earlier in the season as well. A 16-point win over Georgia, too, within the last few weeks. So, I mean, they've got pelts. I mean, Missouri's got their pelts enough to make the tournament now, but Oklahoma's got some, too.
And look, Mizzou could still go in and win that, especially if they got the guys playing the way that they are. Like Sean Phillips, having his best game of the year.
Sean Phillips was really, really good. I mean, the aggressor in the offensive end. My complaint, and I even had a tweet about this against Tennessee, he gets the ball in the post and he'll want to dribble it. And sometimes it's just like, brother, go up. I mean, dribble is not your strong suit. He had confidence in when he should be going right up and just getting his in this game against Mississippi.
He ran a fast break, and it resulted in a foul. He got
and he made free throws.
He was 6 of 6 at the free throw line.
You want to know? A couple things happened during this game. One thing that happened, the reason it was just so stress-free, and I'm going to have to incorporate this one way or another in tomorrow night's game. When I attended the Tennessee game with my son the previous Tuesday, I had a adult beverage in a Mizzou Tiger cup with the columns on it. It was a really great cup. So I brought it home. Good. And my wife hands me a smoothie during the Mississippi State game in that same cup. And so it's like she was even thinking, hey, you're watching the Mizzou game. Look what I can do. I thought that was lovely.
It's nice.
I drink the smoothie. I'm like, there's maybe a little something to this cup. I think there's some good cup luck. And so I have to have something out of this cup tomorrow night. That's the one thing that happened. The other thing that happened is as Sean Phillips is shooting his free throws, I tell my son, I say, hey, do the fingers like the student section. Remember the student section? They did the fingers.
Yeah.
We did the fingers, and Sean Phillips was 2 for 2 on that trip to the line. So I'm just saying, there may be
you're
something
gonna
to
do the fingers again.
Yeah, the fingers for the YouTube audience. You know what I'm talking about. Student section.
Right.
That's just what you do.
Yeah.
Kickoffs and free throws.
Exactly. I mean, that was awesome. Trent Burns was awesome.
We got to talk about Trent Burns.
Yeah, oh my!
And the sky hook.
Mizzou officially has an 8-man rotation.
Yeah,
he is in the game 15-ish minutes every time out, and that's good. He is impacting within his minutes positively for Mizzou, and he did it again. Like that move, we hadn't seen a lot. I don't know how many times we had seen him attempt
and he
it.
did it like 4 times in the. I don't know how
many. 4 or
times
5 on that one shot.
That's not going to be his shooting percentage on sky hooks for his career.
No,
but it was cool to see him, feeling it on that day. I will say, probably the thing that made me laugh the hardest all weekend was blowout game, final possession. Trent Burns pulls up from 3. Oh, misses it 3 feet to the right.
Yeah.
In that moment, you're allowed to shoot a 3.
Like,
I was like, but of course, even when he's just like trying to prove that it's a good idea, I think we've got to have a moratorium. We got to no more 3s this year. But next year,
I'm
sure
not.
that can become,
don't hold your breath on that. I mean,
unless it's a buzzer beater.
What a game!
Buzzer beater against Florida, right, to end the first half.
Yeah,
that's
right.
If you're the guy standing there, fire away. Otherwise, I don't need to see that. But he was tremendous. I mean, playing confidently. He doesn't need. We talk about Trent Burns and for the future, and I said he has before our eyes turned into this guy that you're begging. You got to keep him out of the portal. Not that he would enter, but it's the same conversation we had about Ahmad Hardy in football, where we're like, dude. Ahmad Hardy, imagine our running game next year with getting him and Jamal Roberts back. Do we think he's going to go? Not really, but we're seeing things from him that would lead us to believe teams are going to try to poach him. Trent Burns is 7 foot, the second tallest player in college basketball, and is starting to show his wares a little bit. I don't have any reason to believe he'd be looking around, but now you're suddenly going, that's a guy that you want to continue to pour into and develop because he is showing you some really good things. And a lot of people would say, oh, if he packs on 10 to 15 more pounds and gets a little more gets a little more meat on him. Yeah, fair. But I think at his current frame, he just needs to play like he is the size that he is. Play with that confidence. And that's what we saw on Saturday. He kind of had the deer in the headlights look in some other games where, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm going through the motions a little bit and I'm getting eaten alive for it. That was not the case on Saturday. He played with confidence, and that version of Trent Burns is a difference maker. I don't care what month you're in, March included.
No, he will be a factor. He's a guy that they can turn to now to give Sean Phillips a spell and make sure that you're not stretching thin guys like Mark Mitchell, who he was able to play, I think, as well as, SEC Player of the Week, first of all, just named him that. I think that's a product of the fact that he's not stretched into the 5 as much as he was in prior games because you have to take Sean Phillips off the floor at some point, give him a rest.
Right.
Then somebody else has to be out there. The fact that Trent Burns can man that spot, they have figured out how to keep Mark Mitchell effective even when he's on the floor. Role. Yeah.
Trent Burns, 19 minutes. Sean Phillips, 21 minutes. That's 40.
Yeah.
There. More or less, that's what you're talking about. And then Mark Mitchell is the 4 the whole time he's out there, right? Which is a 4 who's really a 3, who's really a 2 because of all the different things he can do, handling the basketball and just being a focal point for your offense. That was really good to see. You look at some of the other guys in the box score. Jaden Stone plays 33 minutes and plays a Jaden Stone game. 8 points, but only 1 field goal. 5 for 5 at the line, getting to the free throw line.
10 rebounds.
10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals and a block. Jaden Stone is a winning player. That is the box score that you can love to live with when it comes to Jaden Stone, because he doesn't have to be your leading scorer to be an extremely impactful, reliable, and winning player. That's exactly what you got out of him. In a blowout win, you expect to see some things like that in the box score, but that's what you got. Just a lot of winning performances by the Tigers on Saturday.
Because it was surprising to see Stone not finish in double figures. I thought the way that Trent Burns was playing, it was kind of astonishing that he didn't finish there. They both played well, but there were still 5 guys that did. Anthony Robinson had a great game. And obviously Sean Phillip, T.O. Barrett still got to 10. Trent Pierce still got to 10. If everyone can play like that, it just never happens though. And you can't really expect it to happen every game, because this is college basketball. These kids are still trying to develop into the best players they can be. And so any given night kind of rely on whether they've found their groove in that particular game. So, the fact that it is starting to click at this time of year is what Mizzou needed to make sure happened, as opposed to last year when the opposite happened. And look, the month of March hit and they just could not find their groove. Now, technically, they haven't played a game in March yet. So this week, still you want to look for the same types of things that they've been showing you for week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever you want to call it. This is now the month where all of that still needs to be together. Late February is great. March, though, now this needs to continue to be on the tracks. And if it does, the Mizzou's got a lot in front of them. They'll accomplish some good things once again. But that was pretty awesome to watch. It was. I didn't even have to stress at all in the second half at all.
No,
what was happening?
It was seriously the most stress-free Mizzou game of my life, in a game that mattered, right? It was still meaningful coming into the game. It was one that you really wanted to go ahead and grab. It was to get to that requisite 10th win that we've talked about for weeks and weeks at this point. So you can't say, it was, how can you say it was, the most stress-free? Some of those games you're going to win easily.
Taking away the bye games. No bye games involved in this.
In football or basketball, I would say that in either sport, this was as low stress as you can get for a game that you really, when that ball tips, you want it for your team. That was really cool. That was a lot of fun.
So we'll talk about this next week here a little later on in the show. Will they go 2-0 this week? 1-1? 0-2?
If they go 2-0, I'm starting to hear people they've got the talent to get to the second weekend, and if you get a good draw, and then once you're there, it's just about having a great game on that day. My goodness, what are we
thinking happen?
What are we talking about? We're talking about Mizzou in 2026, and it's valid. Where were we in
Went
December?
From 2025 to 2026, and 2026.
Just the
2026
calendar
has been different, man.
That calendar was wrong, and this one is good. It's easy. I just don't know what to say. Really impressive stuff in the last month plus.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. Your thoughts on Mizzou basketball. Comment on our YouTube and our Facebook channels as well. And check us out there. We'll talk more hoops at 5:25. But up next, we'll talk some Chiefs. I think a lot of Chiefs fans are saying, finally, I don't have to worry about Jawaan Taylor's weekly flag every Chiefs game. But we'll talk about what it could actually mean for them to get better a little later on here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Small businesses are the backbone of any successful community. We know, because we're a small business too. We cherish the people who live and work here, which is why we partner with so many businesses to help them grow. And over the years, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for our local children's hospital, our food bank, Central Missouri Honor Flight, and True North. If you want to work with a group of people who believe that giving is always better than getting, contact Zimmer Communications today or learn more at zimmercommunications.com.
Time's running out on your best chance to show off all the coolest tools, gadgets, and equipment that guys want. The 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center where the Boone County Fair is held. Yeah, that's coming up real fast, and it's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. Secure your spot now and get ready for the Como Man Show at ComoManShow.com.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at apiprojectfitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
We're trying to save people money. Go.
What if we cut sandwiches into thirds instead of halves?
We could stop buying warranties and just hope.
What about switching our toilet paper to half ply?
You.
It doesn't take a terrible think tank to save money. Just shop at Family Pawn. They've got jewelry, electronics, tools, and gifts for way less. No sacrifices, no half-ply TP. Ugh.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
Now through March 31st at Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, get up to $170 back on a Firestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $70 back when you purchase 4 eligible Firestone tires, plus up to an extra $100 back when you use your CFNA credit card. Upgrade your ride and save big today at any Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto location. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. Visit FirestoneRewards.com for details.
Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, keeping Missouri rolling since 1949.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
Oh, that was a good win for Mizzou on Saturday in men's basketball. And so now there is a lot of very positive possibilities for the Tigers as we come back here on The Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here. You can call or text us with your thoughts on that game. Daniel texting in. Every time that camera pointed at Gates, he was straight-faced with the look of a man on a mission. That also transferred over to the players. Straight business trip. I don't expect anything different tomorrow. I mean, look, I think Oklahoma is much more capable of standing up and saying, no, that's not happening on our home floor than Mississippi State was in that moment. But look, if it is, I think, a little more about Mizzou in that sense. I think the way they're playing, there is not a whole lot. If they're on point, there are not a whole lot of teams that can beat them right now. So that's got to transfer over. And if it does, then I don't think there will be much that Oklahoma can do about it.
Yeah, I think they will give them a much more of a fight. But if Missouri plays like we've seen them play, I'll say obviously Saturday, and I'll include Tuesday in that because I think the challenge that Tennessee brings you to what their defense does to you and their rebounding does to you. Missouri played really, really well in that win, even though it was more of a close shave. Yeah, if they play at that level tomorrow, I think Missouri's going to be okay. How many games in a row can you continue to project that they'll do that? They'll just keep bringing their A game? I don't know, but I like it when they do. It's a lot of fun when it happens, and it's been happening a lot recently.
Yeah, it all comes down to how long can you sustain it.
Yep.
Because now you know what it looks like. Now that they have kicked it into the gear that you need for this time of year.
No doubt.
But again, it's now March. So can you keep doing it into March? This is
That's
March.
What they say.
Yeah.
It is.
We are residing in March now. So ready to take it on.
Feel like it.
I mean, no.
Although it does actually feel like it, because this is how March goes every year.
Yeah.
We'll get a nice 60-degree day in February, and then March comes around, and you are miserable when it comes to the weather, is what we're referencing now.
All the rain is coming this week, all of it.
Yep.
So, I mean, at least Mizzou will be playing indoors on Saturday for basketball.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, just make sure. We'll see how the baseball schedule looks. There's a 4-game set for Mizzou baseball this weekend, starting Thursday through Sunday. We'll see what it looks like. I mean, it's looking a little better for Thursday, but we'll obviously monitor that. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR here on The Big Show if you want to talk some Mizzou with us, and also some Chiefs, who reportedly today, it was brought out by, I believe, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, that they plan to cut right tackle Jawaan Taylor, barring a trade. It seems like they'll either strike a deal with somebody who wants to take him, but if not, they'll probably cut him. And that will mean he was due $27 million this year. About $7 million of that is dead cap. By cutting him, the Chiefs save $20 million against the salary cap, which, I mean, now that means they are under the salary cap, so at least there's that. I mean, good for them. Got there underneath the number. Now, the thing is, I mean, even though you're underneath the number now, we have not started free agency yet. I think you need enough room, not only for free agency, but also for the draft picks that you are taking this year. They eat up some of that pie too, so you got to have enough room for that. I don't think I don't think they're done shaving. Like, I think they could still do more when it comes to that. But to the Jawaan Taylor part of it, I mean, there are a lot of Chiefs fans go, oh, finally, don't have to deal with that anymore. Which I can see that. I also see the other side of it of, look, it is very easy to start ripping on a player and saying he's no good when every time there's a flag, they flash his name up on the screen and you see that once a game and you're like, this guy's a terrible offensive lineman. Why is he on the team? That's the only thing that you can seem to quantify as an offensive lineman, is the number of flags that he gets. The reality is, at everything else, Jawaan Taylor was actually pretty good at the right tackle spot. So, like, there is something that the Chiefs do need to address when it comes to who their right tackle is. I think they've got a very solid candidate there in Jalen Moore that they're also committing a lot of money to. And I think that's why they ultimately needed to make this move, because if you brought in Jalen Moore to be your left tackle and he can also play right tackle at the start of last offseason, and then your plans changed and he's not starting anywhere, well, now you can slot him into this spot and probably feel good, but there is a question of depth behind it. And let's say Jalen Moore doesn't work out in the long run. So there's still a question. I would not be shocked if they go out and sign another offensive tackle in free agency, Brendan. Maybe one that's more low cost, is more of maybe a guy that you develop into something later on that maybe isn't working out at another spot. Maybe they were just drafted and they need a change of scenery. I would not be surprised if the Chiefs go out and make that type of move. But this is one that, again, it signals that they want to not only get enough to draft their players and sign them, but also do something in free agency. And I think they can address the tackle spot, but they can also address running back too. I think that's what they're looking at.
What do you think they're going to do here with running back? Like, they're clearly the guy that's going to be the main running back for them this coming season is not currently on the roster. We know that. Yeah. Just how far are they going to go and in which direction is going to be fascinating to see. Are they going to spend big for one of the marquee free agents of the class at running back, a multi-year contract, big money? Are they going to spend big in draft capital by drafting someone like Jeremiah Love if he's available in the top 10? You can't really bank on doing the second thing without addressing how you're handling free agency, because one comes first and it's the free agency part of the equation. So can you really afford to do nothing in free agency? No. Can you afford to be a little more measured. Like the Travis Etienne hype is there. I mean, the chatter is there about him and the Chiefs. I would need to know the number before I can like really poo-poo it, but I'm just not so sure that the best way to do it after waiting and waiting and waiting for so many years of like trying to just scrape by with what you had, or say, the 7th rounder will be good enough for another year.
Yeah.
To draft the guy or to sign the guy you're paying him at his height when he is, now 27 years old and in running back years. It's a little bit on the tail end of a prime in many cases. You got to sign that guy to a 3-year contract to where by the end of it, you're maybe not a lot of tread on the tires by that point. I'm not so sure this is what I meant when I said Chiefs invest at running back. Like Travis Etienne had an unbelievable season. Are you paying for him at the height of his production? And is that the best way to do it if you're the Chiefs? The most prudent way to spend your money and address the position? I'll be very curious to see that one when it comes to Etienne.
Yeah, what his number is certainly something the Chiefs are, I'm sure, in the know on. The other part of it is, I mean, Tyler Algier is still out there, and I saw a pretty reasonable reported number of what he would be looking for. It was like 3 years, $22 million. Like, yeah, go do it. Like that is absolutely, I think the Chiefs, if they have that available to them, go ahead and do it. I do think it's something that has to be stopgapped in there as an option for the Chiefs, a free agent running back that you can tout out there as your number one. If you probably don't have the best number one in the league, but you've got somebody serviceable that can elevate your room,
type of guy,
right? That's all you need.
And if you do find that Love falls to you at 9 and you still want to take him, then you can still do that.
That's fascinating though, right?
I think if you sign Breece Hall, I don't think you're drafting Jeremiah Love. If you sign Travis Etienne, you could, but I feel like you're probably not maximizing your resources. But it's hard to know. Like the reason you would do that is because you love the player, Jeremiah Love, and then he happens to fall to you. You can't know before the draft if he'll be available to you, so you have to address the position. But like, I'm okay with the Chiefs doing it in more of a conservative way, not an Elijah Mitchell way. Like, spend some money on this position.
Yeah.
But do it in a way that leaves you open to potentially drafting that player. And if you don't end up drafting him, it leaves you open to spending a day 2 pick, like a meaningful pick on another running back that you may like to operate in tandem with whoever you may sign. That's, to me, the way that makes the most sense.
And look, there's a lot of potential moves out there that the Chiefs could make, and free agency starts next week, and we'll certainly start to see their direction on that. I still question though, like, if I'm fine with the outcome personally, but if David Montgomery was only worth a 5th round pick,
well,
like, Chiefs,
to be clear, did he not go for a 4th rounder? Why
he went for a 4th rounder, a 7th rounder, and an offensive lineman on the Texans that was kind of young. That I don't know, like, what the Texans are doing. Like, they're trading away their offensive linemen when they weren't even all that great at it.
But my point is, what David Montgomery goes the other way? Was there a pick with him?
No,
or is it,
I don't think so.
So it's not a 5th round value. It's better than a 4th round value, right?
Well, if the Texans thought, like, first of all, the Texans had a low 5th round pick, so maybe the Lions didn't necessarily like their positioning within the 5th round. So they asked for a little more from them, and they decided to really sweeten the pot. And look, if the Chiefs only had a 5th round pick option out there, clearly the Lions were going to take the Texans offer for David Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm just arguing semantics. There was never a 5th round value on this. It was Ian Rappaport just lying in a tweet, right? Isn't that where we're getting this? A 4th round pick is what was sent, not a 5th round pick. And they sent other stuff on top of it. So it's more like a 3rd round value or a 3rd and a half than it is a 5th. They paid a 4th and some stuff to get this player. That's a decent price.
It seems that way.
There was never a 5th involved, though. Is the thing I'm like on my soapbox about. Today.
Sure. I mean, we'll never know.
That Rappaport tweet was stupid. I don't understand and it was not a 5th round pick. It was a 4th rounder and then more stuff. So it's even more value than a fourth. So it's like a fourth round value, if nothing else.
Well, and either way, like there are other players out there. Like, do you believe that Kayvon Thibodeau is worth a 5th round pick right now, based on the reporting that's been out there?
Yes, but Montgomery went for a 4th round pick. So
I understand.
Like the value was a 4th rounder and then additional pieces for David Montgomery.
But
would Thibodeau be worth a 4th round pick? That would be comparable to say, would you rather have Montgomery or Thibodeau, if that's what you're asking?
And then, well, it's also the sense of like, well, we see the Chiefs as having a lot of potential moves on the table, we think, right? Like that potentially they can go out and get Kayvon Thibodeau, and it would make a lot of sense because the Chiefs have 2 5th-round picks right now. They can just spend one, turn it into a pass rusher that's still kind of young, and you can hold into the right guy, and you have a need there. So, like, you can do that and draft high at and if David Bailey's there or Reuben Bain or whoever, like, still take him. But I think that's still fascinating what the Chiefs potentially have at their disposal versus what they'll actually do, which it seems to never match up. And I don't know how to match up this time. We think, oh yeah, they're connected to ETN. Are they going to get ETN?
This time feels so different because they're drafting 9th, and we haven't seen, like, when we're projecting a Chiefs draft and they're not going till 31st or 32nd, it's like anything can happen before that. But now we're like, okay, there's a limited number of things that can happen. Is someone going to draft Love? We don't know, but you'll have to have a running back that you sign before then. And like, they'll have a better idea, like you said, of what the values would be. According to Spotrac, Hall is projected to get the most on an AAV basis, then Ken Walker, then ETN. And then there's a bit of a drop for Dowdle and Algier. Like,
I'm kind of taking Breece Hall out of this conversation, though, because the Jets are franchise tagging him. Like, no one's going to have a chance at Breece Hall. He's staying with the Jets, but unless they trade him.
You're right. But I would say, like, I guess the question is the difference between ETN and Algier in terms of salary.
Yeah.
Of, what ends up being is it kind of similar salaries? If it is, then okay, ETN's probably worthwhile. If it's 2 different tiers, I'm taking advantage of the guy in the lower tier because I think he is projectably somebody that can give you more value than he's ever shown in the NFL. He does turn 26 in a month, but he's like a year and a half younger than ETN. I think that difference matters when you're talking about 2 and 3 year contracts. Algier, having been backing up Bijan all these years, probably has more tread on the tires, and you can project if you gave him a role that he would be able to show more than he's ever shown, versus ETN just had probably the best season of his life and now is going to cash in on that. From the value proposition standpoint, if I think Algier is not that much lesser of a player than ETN and he's going to come a couple $1 million cheaper, that's where I would be willing to say I'll take the shot on Algier on maybe you only have to give him a 2-year contract. I don't, he doesn't have as much leverage. I don't know.
Well,
that's kind of how I look at it.
And it allows you more flexibility to what you ultimately need to do, which is you need to find your next really long-term solution at running back in the draft. Eventually, it doesn't have to be this draft. Could be the next one. Like if you decide, like, okay, Algier's our guy, and he's your guy for a year, I think that can work. On into 2027, if he's still under contract, I think you have the ability, because that contract likely wouldn't be all that prohibitive to you, to look and see, okay, where are we in this year's draft? Is that a sensible place for us to take this talented running back that's coming out, or identify this guy and build around him? Like that, a contract like Algier's allows maybe for more of that than potentially what Travis Etienne would be. Because it would be harder to justify signing ETN and then seeing Love fall to you at 9 and then taking him. I think that's kind of where I'd be at.
Okay, so like it's hard to justify it unless it's just the right pick, because what if Jeremiah Love is the best running back in the NFL 5 years from now, and then nobody would look back and say it was a mistake? Kind of reminds me of the Kirk Cousins situation where they draft Michael Penix in Atlanta at 8 after signing Cousins to that big contract. The problem is Penix keeps tearing all of his ACLs, and so we don't really know if he's any good. But like, imagine a world where that wasn't happening, and we, if the Falcons felt about Penix the way that the Patriots feel about Drake May right now, you'd be like, oh my gosh, of course. I know they signed Cousins, but they would have been morons to pass on Penix. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But that's why I do think there is some arguments to be made in favor of, like, whatever you do in free agency, don't make a decision that will close yourself off from Love, because it may be a mistake to be closed off from him if you think he's a difference maker.
So call or text us, Chiefs fans. So we're getting closer to free agency, the draft, what do the Chiefs need to do this offseason. It seems the latest move they're making to save some costs, cutting Jawaan Taylor after he spent 3 seasons as the starting right tackle for the Chiefs. 875-5847 to call or text us. Under the Bus coming up next. Bruce Pearl, we see what you're doing. We see exactly what you're doing. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou men's basketball, an emphatic win on the road Saturday. Tigers took down Mississippi State 88-64. They had 5 players in double figures, led by Mark Mitchell with 17 points. He was named today the SEC Player of the Week by the league after averaging 20 points a game in that game against Mississippi State, and also the one last week against Tennessee. Tigers are 20-9 overall, 10-6 in the SEC, tied for 4th in the conference standings. Their final week of the regular season is underway. They'll take on Oklahoma tomorrow night on the road, then host Arkansas on Saturday at noon. Mizzou women's basketball just wrapped up their regular season yesterday, falling to number 7 Oklahoma 84-78. Tigers are the 14th seed in this week's SEC tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. They'll face the 11th seed Alabama on Wednesday night at 7:30. And the Cardinals announced yesterday a contract extension for manager Oli Marmol. It runs through the 2028 season with a club option for 2029. Marmol has been just 2 games above 500 in his 4 seasons with St. Louis. The season begins March 26th. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking rain chances returning tonight through tomorrow with a few scattered rumbles of thunder. We may see dry time in southern Missouri tomorrow, allowing temperatures to climb into the low 60s, but showers and storms will continue through the middle of the week. Wednesday may even see a few stronger storms midday. Thursday does look like we briefly could see some sunshine, with temperatures climbing into the 70s, maybe near 80 by Friday. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Play of the Week.
Still cut off by Kemp, picks up the dribble. Stockman handling now right side. Stockman throws it away. Crump the steal for Battle, and then he jams it down with 2 hands. Energy play from Jawaan Crump off the bench. Battle cuts it to 2 again.
That's the Power Play of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
When it comes to tree care, knowledge matters. And Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut, they care. Educate, communicate, and protect the health of your trees. Whether for homeowners associations, golf courses, apartment complexes, you name it. And it's one less thing to worry about. With expert service and yearly discounts, your business and your trees are in good hands. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions today. Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration has answered a lot of your calls over the years. And you've helped him grow his business immensely. So he wanted to take a second to say thank you. Oof, that was pretty emotional. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. So keep calling Brian to unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
My name is Matt. We used True Sun Exteriors for a pretty big siding project for our house. We used LP Smart Side. We did all new Pella windows, new fascia, new soffits, and they did a house wrap for us. True Sun was great. They communicated well. Whenever they got very large amounts of, say, the front and the side done. It was just awesome just to kind of see just the difference and what the house looked like. True Sun wasn't the cheapest. They weren't the most expensive. We did consider multiple options, but I think at the end of the day, I'd work with True Sun. It's good to see someone's proposal being so detailed and line itemed. We're protecting our investment, and we love True Sun. We love Nevada and their whole team, and I'm confident that if we ever have any issues, they'll be there as soon as they can.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Lights, Camera, Columbia. Everyone loves the True Falls Film Festival. In this month's issue of Inside Columbia Magazine, we'll take you behind the scenes to learn about the past, present, and future of this fan favorite. In our style section, we'll introduce you to some of the designers involved in next month's Stevens College Fashion Show. And check out who we caught on the town. See who you know. This and much more in Inside Columbia Magazine. Get yours at break time convenience stores or subscribe at InsideColumbia.net.
You could be right in the middle of celebrating a big win, and all of a sudden, bang, you've got ants on the counter or mice in the garage. Hi, I'm Mike Kelly. As someone who's called buzzer beaters and game winners for 3 decades, I think the best call that you can make is to Steve's Pest Control. I'm on the road a lot during the season, which is why I've signed up for Steve's 5-star pest control program. It's comforting to know that even when I'm not home, Steve's Pest Control is protecting my house from termites and other pests. Plus, the 5-star program keeps the pests at bay, controlling and eliminating them before they have a chance to enter your home. Scheduling is incredibly easy. You don't even have to be home. And if a pest problem pops up at any time, Steve's will perform a retreat for no additional charge. Call Steve's Pest Control today and ask about their 5-star pest control program so you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the game.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Look, we'd do anything for our kids, right? That's just what Bruce Pearl is doing. He not only just stepped away and told Auburn, hey, you're hiring my son and there's nothing you can do about it.
I wonder
as the
why
next
they
coach.
did it. Why they agreed.
I don't know. I
It
don't
makes
know,
no
man.
sense.
He's not only doing that for his son, but he's also trying to lobby for him to sneak his way into the NCAA tournament by saying that an undefeated Miami, Ohio team doesn't deserve an at-large bid, which is ridiculous. Win all your games, you're in the tournament. Even if it's just all of your regular season games, that should be enough.
Yeah, I don't care who they lose to in the MAC. I really don't.
Yeah. And
enough with the Auburn crap. I'm serious.
Yeah, Lenardi finally put him out in his projections today, first team out. So I think Bruce Pearl is rooting hard for Akron the rest of the way. But
yeah,
look,
you can keep rooting.
Yeah, seriously. I think we can all see it for what it is, what Bruce Pearl is doing, is trying to help out his kid, which in a way, I can relate, but still, we know what it is.
Hasn't he done enough?
I think so.
He gave him a basketball team.
He gave him an SEC basketball job. That's pretty good.
The dude had, as recently as 4 or 5 years ago, the dude had nothing to do with coaching.
Yeah.
He was in a completely different line of work, and now he's Auburn's head coach. Shocking that they're at 500 and going to miss the tournament.
What do you know? Also, under the bus to Indiana fans. I think you've said this before, Brendan, that eventually we're just going to start hating Indiana football because they won one national championship.
Sooner than later, for sure.
And I think this is another reason why. There are apparently a contingent of Indiana fans at the NFL Combine who were booing Carson Beck when he was out there during his workout. Every time he was flashed up on the video board, they started booing him. And I think it meant that the people running the video board just stopped showing Carson Beck because they heard the boos. And we're like, we don't want him to be booed. Oh, he's trying to show out for NFL scouts. Come on, Indiana fans. I don't get that.
Why? You
won
the national championship. You don't have to be. I would have nothing but great feelings about Carson Beck if my team beat him in the national championship.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, that's that guy that couldn't beat us. I love him. Thank you for everything you did or didn't do.
Yeah.
Like, why would I boo him?
It's so weird, right? I think there are some Indiana fans that don't know how to handle this type of greatness with their team.
I haven't been here before, in fairness.
That's true. Oh, Mark Mitchell. Congrats to him, SEC co-player of the week. He is sharing it with Latrell Wrightsell of Alabama this week, but very well deserved for Mark Mitchell, who averaged 20 points per game in the Tennessee and Mississippi State games, integral to both those wins, and integral to Mizzou's team, obviously. He should be first team All-SEC if the voters are doing it right, but congrats to him on this weekly award, too.
No doubt about it. And, I mean, we'll probably be seeing some, end of the season honors as well. I don't know quite how far it'll go. They do what they do. 2 teams, probably all SEC.
I think so, yeah.
He's going to be on one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Bradley ought to be on the first one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with all the accolades we've talked about from him with Missouri history and what he's potentially set to do in a single season, he's got to be in that conversation.
We'll talk more Mizzou hoops at 5:25. How are they going to fare this week in the final week of the regular season? They try to chase a double bye in the conference tournament. But up next, Oli Marmol, here to stay for now as the Cardinals manager. We'll discuss next.
What happens when a chef, 2 pharmacists, and a financial analyst walk into a bar? They buy it. And then they tell people from all walks of life to come enjoy it with them. Big flavors, bigger burgers, local brews, handcrafted drinks, and a game of pool or 2. See, billiards was built by people like you. A teacher, a receptionist, and a cashier walk into billiards. What happens next is up to you.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Call your shot at billiardsonbroadway.com.
Hi, we're Midway Electric, and since you've got a nice large tax return this year, you've got the ability to put it towards something that lasts, like updating your bathroom with modern light fixtures or new kitchen lighting that pops. And Midway Electric is the team of pros you can trust to bring those dreams to life. From custom lighting to complete electrical upgrades, Midway Electric helps transform the spaces you use every day. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Generating marketing strategy.
Calculating synergy. No thanks. At Fuse 32, your brand isn't built by code. It's built by creatives. Real humans who listen, question, and push boundaries. We don't hide behind fancy dashboards or chase meaningless clicks. We bring you transparent, bold ideas and return on investment you can actually see and track. Because your story and your brand deserves more than an algorithm you can't even meet. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Fuse32.com. Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Bucks ready to welcome back star power forward Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight. ESPN's Shams Charania is reporting he's expected to be back from a right calf strain against the Celtics. Giannis listed as questionable officially. In the last 15 games without him, Milwaukee went 8-7 and enters tonight's NBA action 3 games out of the final play-in spot in the East. The Bucks, though, should focus on draft positioning and not the postseason, believes ESPN NBA reporter Tim McMahon.
This is not in the Bucks' best long-term interest. We're not going to pretend that the Bucks have a chance in hell of doing anything in the Eastern Conference playoffs this year. The Bucks do not have any chance of doing anything. They're not going to win. They're not going to win a single playoff game.
Guard Trae Young will make his Wizards debut Thursday night versus the Jazz. Young, acquired by Washington from Atlanta in January, has been out for more than 2 months with MCL and quad injuries in his right leg. The Texans, as they'd been looking to do this NFL offseason, bolster their running game. They acquired running back David Montgomery from the Lions for offensive lineman Juice Scruggs and 2 draft picks.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit progressive.com.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall. And it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Hey, some noteworthy Cardinals news from over the weekend that we are getting set to discuss here in a matter of moments. The Cardinals extending manager Oli Marmol's contract, tacking on a couple more years and an option. Yeah, he's their guy as they embark upon this next iteration of what the franchise could look like. So we'll get some Cardinals talk in here in the next couple of minutes, and you can weigh in with your thoughts on that move. Text us or call us, 573-875-KTGR. At 525, we'll talk a little more Mizzou men's basketball. 2 games remaining. Will the Tigers go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 this week? We'll break down the schedule and how we feel about those games against OU and Arkansas. And we'll get out of here with a chat with Mizzou softball coach Larissa Anderson. Once again, 573-875-KTGR to call or text. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
What a game from Mizzou men's basketball. Just pure domination in the first half, and it made the second half just not matter at all. They beat Mississippi State 88-64 in a win that I think solidifies them as an NCAA tournament team. Even if they lose 3 more the rest of the way, their last 2 regular season games and 1 in the conference tournament, I don't think those games are going to be prohibitive enough for them to fall completely out of the field. They might be dicey. It might put them in Dayton territory. I think that's still the floor. But I don't think Mizzou is going that record either. And I think they have a really good shot at a double bye, even if they win just 1 of these games coming up this week. Preferably, if it's only going to be 1, maybe make it the Arkansas game. But it's all in front of Mizzou. If they win out this week, they're the 3 seed in the SEC tournament. That would be pretty impressive considering where they started in early January.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Meanwhile, Mizzou women's basketball, not the finish to the season or the regular season they wanted. They did fight hard yesterday against Oklahoma, number 7 team in the country, lost by 6. Shannon Dow, a career-high 33 points coming off the bench on senior day. They wanted to start the seniors in that game. But they're the 14 seed in the SEC tournament. They get the 11 seed Alabama, who is firmly in the tournament field, according to most bracketologists. They're still ranked also, and they're the 11 seed in the bracket. That's how deep the SEC is in women's basketball this year.
Number 3.
So Oli Marmol is getting a contract extension with the Cardinals to be their manager through 2028, club option for 29. Look, I know there's a lot of folks that are upset about how the last few years have gone, but I think the same people who crush Oli Marmol for whatever it might be, decision-making or not developing talent, anything like that, I think have also said similar things about how management has built this roster over the last few years. And I think you firmly have to focus more of your attention on blaming that part of it. Now that regime has changed, so we'll see if Marmol does a little bit better under new roster construction leadership. We'll talk about it here in a few minutes.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Jawaan Taylor released by the Chiefs, or at least reportedly that will happen barring a trade. They're going to save $20 million underneath the cap by making that move. So clearly wanting to make more space for free agency this year, seeing whether they're going to target a running back. But I'd be interested to see if they also target tackle because of this move.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
It's finally happened. We've been asking for it for weeks, but Joe Lenardi finally placed Auburn out of his projections.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR to call or text us. And just barely the first team out of that. And
yeah, it was getting bad for a while, and then they beat Kentucky inexplicably, and you're like, oh, crap, that's going to get them in. They lose Ole Miss at home. Like, Come on. I get it. Missouri lost to Ole Miss. Get your jokes in now. But that was well over a month ago. Ole Miss had lost 10 in a row coming into that game at Auburn, and Auburn drops it. Yeah, get them out of here. They shouldn't even be sniffing the bubble. I guess in theory there's a way they play their way back into the field, but I don't want anything to do with them.
I mean, again, bubble's bad this year. They're bad.
It's a bad
there's
bubble.
There's some bad teams. But, I mean, there were some teams that did boost themselves. Like Ohio State got a really good win over Purdue.
That sucks. That was a good win.
I know.
You got to give credit where it's due. That's a good win. It probably puts them in.
But that's obvious. That's what, honestly, that's the spot that Auburn lost was Ohio State coming in and Auburn falling out in that sense. But yeah, they're not even in a territory where they would be ghosted by a bid steal or anything like that. No, they're just out. So I think that's justified. And if they keep playing, let's see what they got this week. What do they have for their final week? I mean, this team.
They go to Bama is their last game.
That's their last game. They host LSU.
Ooh, tomorrow night at 9:00 Central. I might stay awake and watch Auburn end their season by losing. What's that? I mean, Mizzou lost them. Yeah, it's a late one.
Oh,
it's a late one. I don't understand it. I don't really. Mizzou plays at 6. Is that game on a different network?
No. So here's the thing: 7 of the games are tomorrow. There's only one SEC game on Wednesday. What are we doing?
That's interesting. Yeah, because I guess when you want to give them extra rest before the conference tournament, but that's the following Wednesday. I don't know. That actually doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No, I don't know what happened there. Probably ESPN had something to do with that.
Usually
position all their games in the right spot, but come on.
Yeah, you got some small conference tournaments that'll be starting.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Okay, what is it?
I mean, SEC Network probably can't do any of them because they're airing the women's tournament. That starts this week. And
that's
Wednesday,
why.
That's why.
Yep. You got to have the games on SEC Network. You got to get them in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that makes sense.
Man, 9 p.m. Still really late. Still really late.
ESPN has like 1 million channels. They could put it on another
do.
channel.
They have unlimited. That's what they call it these days.
All
now
the pluses next to the SEC Network that they could use for the men's games on Wednesday. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But Auburn very well could lose to LSU. Like, I won't put it past them. I really won't. And again, I know Mizzou also lost to LSU. We weren't the same team as we are now. And so, and the resumes bear out that Missouri has earned its spot. So,
it's firmly ahead of Auburn there. Auburn has really slipped in the WAB category
and beat Auburn. So, we got the head to head against Auburn.
And ever since they beat that team has made that win look worse and worse.
Yeah,
ever since. So,
yeah, but Florida, that win looks like impossible.
That is aging like a fine wine.
Florida manhandling Arkansas, which I thought Arkansas would keep that competitive, and they plainly did not have the horses to keep up with the Gators. And Mizzou beat Florida. Beat them.
Florida can get a 1 seed. They can absolutely do it.
They should probably have the last 1 seed if they run the table.
Battling it out with UConn. UConn's still very tough. That's who it's between.
Florida is a freight train. I hope Florida gets it too at this point, so I can, sneak them through my bracket because people just advance the 1 seeds. It's the easy chalk. Sometimes people want to get cute and say a 2 is going to lose. I think Florida's going to be back in the Final Four. I'm starting to see the inevitability of that. They're just playing really well.
So call or text us here at 875-KTGR. Tell us, will Mizzou go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 this week? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, let's get to the Cardinals news of the weekend. Dropped yesterday morning. Cardinals said, Oli Marmol, 2-year contract extension. He's here through 2028, club option for 2029. And everyone responded positively, as we all know, in Cardinals land, because that's what happens. Everybody is happy-go-lucky about this iteration of the Cardinals. No, everyone was panicking.
I would say there were, I don't know about panicking, but there were certainly some detractors from the news when it was announced.
Again, Brendan, we've talked about what the situation has been for the Cardinals the last really 2 to 3 years.
2023 was the first year where we were like, there are some deeper problems here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is like, look, it could be the manager. I don't think we're saying that the manager is perfect. I don't think the manager has pushed every single right button over the last few years or so when the Cardinals have been out of the playoffs and at times finishing under 500, although that hasn't happened every year.
It didn't happen this past year. We're in this like dismal rebuild, right? Everybody's boo-hooing on the Cardinals. They won, what they win? 80
80-ish
they win 80
games.
games last year? I don't remember. Cardinals record.
Just above 500, weren't they?
I thought they got to 500, but then I couldn't remember. Yeah, no, they were 78 this year. They were 83 the year before that.
Right.
So like they still haven't had like any of these dismal, real like downers of a season outside the context of Cardinals fans are not used to this being just painfully mediocre and sometimes bad. I believe they were above 500 at the deadline when they sold off, but that was the thing that they had to do. And to your point that you're making, Andy, it's these decisions come as the Cardinals are trying to bounce back from having things get pretty lean behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The stuff that happens outside of the manager's control. We are universally, as people who are either fans or talk about the Cardinals on a regular basis, is universally understood that John Mozeliak kind of let it get a little lackluster.
He sat on his hands for 2 years and just let it happen.
And that's not controversial to say. Everyone agrees with that.
Right.
Even the people that
who hate
dogging
Marmol.
on Marmol
Right,
agree with that.
Yeah. We all know this. And the Cardinals eventually knew it, and they decided to get Chaim Bloom at least in their buildings so they could have a possible replacement down the line.
They came as close to admitting it as you're going to get Bill DeWitt to do, because he's got a lot of pride in his organization. But he did. He said, there were some things that we got behind on, and Chaim is going to help us catch up. And since then, I think Chaim has helped them catch up. I think they are going to be ahead of schedule on whatever the rebuild looks like, to where like the end of season records during this lull of the St. Louis Cardinals, when historians look back upon it, I really don't think it's going to look all that bad. They could win 75 games this year and be like, down year. And then next year, I wouldn't be shocked if we see baseball in 2027 if they're back above 80 wins. They might even do it this year.
Who knows?
You can wager that, but they are now doing the things that you want to see them do from an organizational standpoint. Oli Marmol, though, Andy, is this, for whatever reason, very polarizing figure. I want to ask you, honestly, for your opinion on why you think that is, as sort of you're an insider's outsider, because you didn't come up as a Cardinal fan, an Astros fan.
Yeah.
But you see the Cardinals and you watch them regularly. Why is it that Cardinals fans have this level of disdain that they do for Oliver Marmol?
Well, here's the thing. I think it is some of it is not necessarily just a Cardinal-centric problem. Some of it is a baseball problem. You see the manager wears a uniform. They walk onto the field pretty much every single game into the lines of play, and they take pictures in and out. And that's about the only thing that that fans see. And it's also seemingly the only thing that fans judge managers on. And it's like
it's also happening usually during a time where stuff is bad.
Yeah, exactly. It also usually happens after we know the outcome of what the pitcher did afterwards, and they say, "Oh, how could you think that was a good move?" Like some of that, I think, is very specific to baseball. Whereas coaches in the other sports, they head out onto the field, but they're not supposed to, right? Only during timeouts or things like that. They don't wear uniforms.
Yeah.
Part of their job is not to run out onto the field and take a player out of the game. You see a baseball manager.
Mick Cronin does that, though.
Well, sure. I guess there are exceptions elsewhere. I think that means that Mick Cronin should be the next Cardinals manager. But either way,
you have a soft bubble, by the way.
Yeah.
Losing to Minnesota over the weekend.
Yeah. UCLA is now the last 4 buys or whatever it is. So look, I think that's part of the baseball fabric of it, is that fans are going to pin a lot more on the manager because I think they see the manager out in front a lot more often. Now, in the Cardinals case specifically, loved Mike Schilt. I think that's another part of this.
Cardinals fans really liked him.
They decided that the management decided to get rid of a manager that was winning to place this guy in there because apparently the manager that was winning was not jiving with the people that are above him. And so like that is clearly going to put a whole lot of scrutiny upon the guy that they place in that role. And I think, and again, it's also part of what Cardinals fans have been used to, as you mentioned. Like this is an organization that has gotten a whole lot of used to winning because they have won a lot under Tony La Russa, and even in years under Mike Matheny, even though that's soured, he's still got them to winning seasons, put them in the playoffs, things like that. Like they've had 20 plus years of being used to this. And now this guy here is overseeing a stretch that is clearly going the other direction where they have missed the playoffs 3 straight years. And so like everyone's just going to say, well, yeah, that's the manager's fault because he's in charge of the team, right? Well, it's a little more complicated than that, you know?
Which, by the way, the guy that installed him is that guy that we universally said wasn't really doing a great job.
Exactly.
So it's not a leap for those folks to say, well, if Mo was struggling with all this other stuff, who was he to make the decision to take out the winning manager and put in this other guy? Yeah. But I would say that Oli Marmol did guide the Cardinals to the playoffs in his first year in 2022.
Right.
And by the way, Mike Schilt has since had another managerial gig, and then it mysteriously didn't work out.
For whatever reason.
He left. But it was kind of the same stuff that, you know, folks in St. Louis, I think, were experiencing with Mike Schilt, who was always great to me. And I have nothing negative to say personally about Mike Schilt, but like that is context to a lot of this. So, yeah, I think you're spot on with a lot of what you're saying. And maybe the overriding thing that I would just reiterate is like the expectations of Cardinals fans are to win. For 20 years, they haven't had to know what this is like, anything close to a rebuild. And so, as much as you can continue to tell them like, yep, this is coming, guys, this is what it's going to look like, there's going to be that sort of those reservations and that disdain almost for like, I'm telling you, it's going to come. People are going to be upset this year if they have a losing record and lose 90 games or whatever it might be. And like, if they go 70-92, I would say, man, that's about what a lot of people expect could happen. And it could even be worse than that, depending on who you ask. I am going to say, we're seeing some, I'm not down there in Jupiter, obviously, this year, but I am hearing a lot of really positive things. And so, and this is kind of the time of year where you would hear positive things, but I am inclined to believe that they can probably surprise some people this year and that they've got a clubhouse that is in, there's cohesion now. Whereas like, it was like, is Mo in charge? Is Chaim going to be, he's going to be in charge, but what's my relationship with him? We got these veterans, but we're not really rebuilding, but they don't really have any business here. You were in a weird kind of stalemate last year that I don't think worked for everybody. Now the cards are on the table, and I think that can be to the benefit of getting a young team to rally around itself almost.
Yeah.
I think Oli Marmol is the type of manager that can make that happen. So obviously, you know, eventually, Andy, here's part of it. There isn't a great, other than like the things we're saying, like, it's a young team, they're going through a rebuild. You're not going to, we had 1 year left on his contract. You're not going to judge Oli Marmol on how many games they win this year and decide whether he should manage them next year based on that because of the payroll is slashed and they're not trying to win as the end all be all right now. But you do have to judge him on something eventually. And so like the detractors would say, you know, how many years of just like, it's not about the on-field results do you get? And that's a fair question. And I understand that it is a kind of a tricky subject because there have been multiple, 3 years of no playoffs. And now we're telling you there's probably going to be 2 more.
Right.
But that I'm telling you, I don't really think the manager is the reason for that. That is a unique perspective and a unique situation that I guess I should be more fair to Cardinals fans and not be like, ragging on them for their views. But like, I don't.
But again,
see it the way they see it.
In the previous, before the contract extension, this was his last year, right? It was running out after this.
He'd have been a lame duck manager if you use that term.
So again, he is being given the years by this organization to say, all right, here's your period where you need to win. And if you don't, this will be your final contract extenent with us. Like,
I think it makes a lot of sense. There's an option on it too, right?
Yeah, an option too, like to have all
that
that.
Can say, hey, if that option's picked up, we can avoid like the notion of a new extension because that won't be great PR going into 2028 if the Cardinals had 2 losing seasons.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to want him back. I think he's their guy. Like Bill DeWitt said, like he's our manager long term. This is not going to be this kind of annual wait to see if they hire Yachty or Albert thing. Like, Oli is their guy. And what do you think it says about Oliver Marmol that Chaim Bloom, who didn't choose him, right? He came in and inherited him, has now chosen him. And seems to be genuine in that choice. I think that's meaningful, and it tells you that it's going to be sound like some corporate BS, but I think there's some synergy between what Oli would like to see happen and what Chaim Bloom would like to see happen. And those two ideals meeting in the middle on how to get the St. Louis Cardinals to move forward. Do I think that Oli had that with John Mozeliak? I don't think there were philosophical differences. I think John Mozeliak just had one foot out the door, and there was no real, and that's a hard thing to manage under. It's a hard thing to play under when you want to, especially for the manager, when you're I want to see what the 3 to 5 year vision is, but we don't really know quite yet. And so I think Oli had to be pretty patient in just kind of seeing it through. And now I think there's a lot of energy. They have a new complex that they're putting the finishing touches on down there in Jupiter. They've got the number 2 rated farm system, according to Baseball America, in the list that came out a number of weeks ago. They've got a highly rated draft pick, number 13, I think, in the upcoming draft, with 5 in the top 80 picks or whatever it is. So they're going to have a nice draft haul. They've got people in place from other organizations that did a lot of winning and did more with less. Guys like Rob Scarfolio coming from the Cleveland organization. The Cardinals are trying to build that here, and it's not the Rays model or the Guardians model, but it's the model that I think can be modernized to be whatever that needs to be in the 2026 era of MLB. I think they think Oli Marmol is fit to not only guide them through the rebuild, but once they're ready to win, I think they think Oli Marmol is ready to help them do that. Larry mentions on Facebook, Andy, I'm reading this comment. I don't think Marmol makes good managerial decisions, but I'm not an expert. That's what Larry says. I do think he, people say this, it's a common trope. I would ask, what is it that you don't like? Because if it's that you think he brought in the wrong reliever, I think everything that Andy said, the fact that he's wearing the uniform, he's out on the field, it's his decision, give me the ball, you're not the guy that's going to pitch now through this jam. And then inevitably, MLB pitchers with a 3.00 ERA would end up being pretty darn good pitchers, Andy. But if you're a reliever with a 3.00 ERA, what does that mean? 1 out of every 3 times you come pitch, you're probably going to give up a run. You're not going to be perfect.
Yep.
And so when people are seeing that, a couple times a week, and it happens a couple times a week when you don't have a perfect bullpen, and who does? People are going to say, well, the manager brought in the wrong reliever. What they rarely know is that, well, these 2 guys were unavailable, and I was going to say it publicly. This guy was unavailable, and I'm not going to say it publicly because there's a reason to protect his interests or whatever the case would be. The agent is on my ass from this guy. You have to manage a lot of egos and a lot of personalities as a big league manager, and I think that is the part that has to be hidden from a lot of fans on a day-to-day basis, whereas the part that's not hidden is the guy in the uniform telling the pitcher, give me the ball, and then he brings in the guy that gives up the home run. That part's not hidden. That part's very public.
Call or text us, 875-KTGR. What are your thoughts on Oli Marmol getting the contract extension from the Cardinals through 2028? Let's go out to the KTGR hotline now. Hello, who's this? Hello, you're on the big show. Hey. Oh, no. He's no longer on the big show.
Not anymore.
Well, he can call back. It's all right.
All right.
But, I do find it hilarious at times, disheartening, but hilarious that I'll see Cardinals fans just criticize Oli Marmol all the way up to the sun, and then in the same breath do the same thing to the past organization structure, John Mozeliak, and be like, look, you have to don't change both things if you really want to see how the experiment goes. Take care of what happened at the top. See what trickles down.
That's so tough. And I get why that's tough. It can be both. It can be that the Pobo and the manager are bad. That's a possible outcome. I am telling you, I haven't seen anything that shows me that the manager is the problem.
Yeah.
People do say, well, he comes off as a little bit brash. He comes off as a little bit arrogant for somebody who hasn't really won a lot. I kind of want my manager to have a little bit of an edge to him. And boy, will you love it when they're winning.
Would you rather have the opposite of them saying, I'd like to win today, but they don't.
Do I want Ron Washington who comes out, well, it wasn't anything that I did wrong.
Yeah.
Oli, I get it. There's a Tyler O'Neill thing. You can look back at that. I think he's learned from that. I said at the time he didn't handle it my favorite way. That's not a reason 3 years later to say I don't like the contract extension. They weren't going to be able to go into his final year and then judge him off of wins and losses and then say extend him. They want him to be the manager. Everybody within the organization does. All the players showed up to the press conference. Like, they want this. It wasn't, as far as the timing goes, people who would say, we'll do it in the middle of the season. That doesn't make sense. Spring is when these happen. If you're in the middle of the season on a guy with a 1-year contract and you're the owner and you're Chaim Bloom and you're all the front office and this is your guy that you've decided you want to see through this process, and you get to June and you're 15 games under 500, people are going to say, fire the manager. Well, they don't want to do that because they understand that this year might be a 15 games under 500 season, and it's not a reflection of the field manager when it is. So they're going to make the move, and I think in the long run, it'll be one that takes some patience, but I think Cardinals fans will. I still believe that the next time the Cardinals win a World Series, and the next time the Cardinals are in the playoffs and go into NLCSs, I still believe that Oliver Marmol will be their manager. I've said that over and over. It's been a lonely thing to say sometimes, but I also think that when you realize what Chaim Bloom has so quickly, I think, already begun to put his fingerprints on, there is some real belief that that can be the case. And if and when that happens, I do think that Cardinals fans are going to fall in love with Oli Marmol, because if you talk to him, if you see kind of the way he interacts, and he does this with fans at spring training, he's signing autographs and talking to fans. He'll talk to his critics, the people that would say, you're terrible. He's done this before. He's heard people from the dugout criticizing him, and he says, all right, stay after the game.
Yeah.
Let's talk for 20 minutes. And then that person comes away going, oh, I didn't realize that he had that type of personality. I didn't realize how thoughtful he was. Maybe it's not people's fault, Andy, because they don't always get a chance to see it. And I get it. It sounds like I'm caping for the guy, and people say, oh my gosh, you're Ollie's best buddy. I don't think that's the way he feels about me, but I do have the respect for him that I've seen him operate and how he does his job. And I have respect for that. And I think it will lead to success for the St. Louis Cardinals as well.
Let's try again here on the KTGR hotline. Hello, who's this?
Yeah, this is Tommy Rosewood.
Hey, Tommy, you're on the big show. What you got?
Regarding earlier when you talked about the Hoosiers booing Carson Beck, the justification, not that I think they should have, is the fact that he did not shake Fernando's hand after the game during the national championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess.
Reason,
yeah.
Not a good one, but it's
good context though.
Yeah, sure. It is. It is. I had kind of forgotten that point of it. It is important to remember. Appreciate the call, Tommy, here on the big show.
I thought he had more.
Oh,
I think.
Oh, sorry about that. Is he back? Tommy, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else you got?
No, that's it.
Did I cut? Okay, sorry.
I was wrong.
Sorry, I cut you off there. Unfortunate.
No, it's my fault. That was all he had. I thought he was going to come in with a list of things. And Brendan's an idiot, and so is Marmol. I was ready for the whole, give us the whole rundown.
You were kind of arming up like you have all the last 24 hours or so with the other Cardinal fans.
I got to stay off Twitter. I just got to stay off Twitter. It's because I try to engage and be in it, but you're not going to convince people, and it's not really my job necessarily to convince them. I think over the course of time, that's what Oli Marmol's going to do. So it's going to be a really fascinating season. I'm excited to cover it. I'm excited to talk about it, even though it may not be a 100-win season. It may not be a playoff season. We're going to learn a lot this year, I think.
So, Cardinal fans, keep telling us your thoughts on Oli Marmol getting a contract extension, 875-KTGR. We're going to talk with Larissa Anderson of Mizzou softball coming up at 5:45. But up next, will Mizzou men's basketball go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 this week to finish out the regular season? That's next.
The best subscriptions in life are free. Subscribe to KTGR on YouTube to watch The Big Show and other exclusive content. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30 at Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Your restaurant has great food, but you're still not seeing as many people come through the door as you'd like. You offer an amazing experience, and the food is incredible, but you just need more people to try you. That's where ShopMidmo.com comes in. When you're part of ShopMidmo.com, thousands of potential customers will see your offers, helping you build your exposure. It's an amazing tool for restaurants who offer great experiences to the best foodies in town. Find out how ShopMidmo.com can give your restaurant a jump start. Contact us at
ShopMidmo.com.
Okay, we now have Steve from Steve's Pest Control. We'll be addressing your questions on the spring invasion. Steve?
Hi, let's start with you, sir, in the third row.
Last year's fall invasion was terrifying for many families. How do you propose we deal with the invaders this spring?
Well, not to worry. First thing, just call us to Steve's Pest Control. We'll get you started on a 5-star Advantage plan.
Steve, is it true that the pests are becoming self-aware?
No, not really, no.
And that they're trying to enslave the entire human race?
That's fake news.
Steve, I'm over here, back corner. Steve.
But Steven, is it true that there could be hundreds of termites living underneath my home?
Honestly, it's more like millions. Folks, it's okay. All you have to do is calmly, quietly pick up your phone and call us to Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem and keep you protected. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
This is Phil Fortaleza here with Mizzou Basketball's Anthony Robinson II and his mama Nisha, getting ready for the latest Sticklin' and Sticklin' injury law commercial.
Aunt, you got your line?
I got it, Mom.
Go ahead.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Call Sticklin' and Sticklin'.
Mom, that's my line.
At Sticklin' and Sticklin', all they do is personal injury.
Sticklin' and Sticklin'.
It's a slam dunk.
Hey, kids! Tired of working out in the peace and quiet of your own home? Why be comfy when you could be cringy? It's about time you signed up for a Gymbership. For 12 easy installments of $499.99, you can lie down on pre-soaked workout benches, enjoy awkward locker room talk, and get judged hard by dudes who look like they could rip a pickup truck in half. Gymbership comes with everything you see here, batteries not included. Or you could shop at Play It Again Sports for fitness and workout equipment. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I-70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
Oli Marmol is the Cardinals manager, extended through 2028. Club option for 2029. Give us a call or a text on what you think about it. 573-875-KTGR. Brandon says he's a yes man and got the job for that reason. He also comes off as arrogant with media, had some conflict and ran off players. I think some of that's a little overblown. Does he really come off as arrogant to media?
I think that people see when like little clips and stuff come out, and it's like mostly you're probably talking about post game, where the heat of the moment is just coming. It's probably after a loss where that's going to happen. Yeah, there have been moments where like I would see why a fan would look at that video clip surface and go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But then like they don't see the next day at 3:00 what those two, that media member and Oli might say to each other. My moments with Oli Marmol where I've been like, oh boy, like this is getting serious, have happened behind the scenes. So like there, but that's just, I think in any workplace that would be the case. And I don't know that Oli stands out in a way that's any more or less than anybody else. I think the thing I like about Oli is like those conversations can happen. I like with Mike Matheny, it was kind of like you're tiptoeing and there's maybe not, I don't know. I feel like Oli Marmol in any MLB manager, like I've covered 3, and I don't think he stands out in any way better or worse when it comes to that. But there's always like happy to have the conversation. And that's what I think is valuable from the media side of it. And like fans see that and they're like, well, I don't know, what the working relationship is behind the scenes. But like I said, I think there have been moments where that is a thing that fans say is like, well, he comes off this way. I think if he had a pedigree of, bunch of winning and like think about, and this isn't a good example because I don't think Oli Marmol is like this, but like the Dan Hurley, we think about the way we think about him for UConn. I was like, oh my gosh, he's so arrogant. But then it's like, well, he's won a bunch. You can still dislike him, but he's won a bunch. And so there'll be people who say, well, that excuses the arrogance or the whatever type of thing he gives off.
And Oli Marmol does not have the winning that excuses
to back up the
potential.
confidence. I think he's confident.
Yeah.
And I think that will benefit. Like, I'd rather have a manager who is confident and who, we'll see. We'll see if he's ever able to get to the point where he's got the Cardinals rolling. But it's not going to happen alone. I think he's got the support now from up above that it was not. We knew that most days were numbered, and we just didn't know exactly the way it was going to close out. So I get it. I think he's a polarizing figure, but I would say that any manager of the St. Louis Cardinals would become somebody that is a polarizing figure to the fan base, win, lose, or draw. Like Tony La Russa. There were banners flown out of planes about needing to fire Tony La Russa over venues like this. Tony La Russa. And he was, a very winning, very, very successful.
One of the best ones in the organization.
And that's why I say for folks who were like, oh my gosh, this means Yadi's going to end up managing elsewhere. I don't know if he will. We'll see.
Whatever.
Whatever. Like,
whatever.
If you want to love Yadi and you want it to be that way for the next 50 years, you don't want him to manage the Cardinals because
you're going to start to hate him. And after year two.
Every manager has an expiry date. Every manager does. So, that's just the name of the business. It's a fun topic, though, to talk about. I like that question. I like that comment because it gets us talking about it.
Daniel texts in on the Mizzou conversation. Will they go 2-0, 1-1, 0-2? He says, depends on what team shows up. If the team at State shows up, then we'll go 2-0. If the Texas team shows up, we'll go 1-1. I think they'll go 0-2 if the Texas team shows up.
If the Texas team shows up, they are 0-2 by double digits in both games.
Again, very possible. And if that happens, it would have to be a lot of weird things that happen for them to drop to either 9 or 10. Still not within it's within the realm of possibility, though. So, I think you want to get at least one.
You really would.
If you are getting only one, I'd prefer it to be the Arkansas game.
Yeah, but I don't really care. If you're getting one, I'm pumped. I think 1-1 is a win of a week for sure.
Yeah.
And there's still ways to the double bye, by the way, even if you lose one.
Yeah, either one. If you get to one win, you can still get the double bye. It's just preferable if it's the Arkansas one because if you beat Arkansas, you have a potential to pass them if, say, they play Texas on Wednesday.
Yep. So that's another path into the double bye in theory if it goes that way. Yeah.
But again, 2-0, you are the 3 seed. It does not matter what happens elsewhere.
And you're locked in right now, but you'll be sweating Selection Sunday if they lose 2 and then they lose to the 12th seed or whatever. You know what I mean? So that part of it, I do think I don't really care which one you get. If you're 11-7, you are a bona fide. I can sleep through selection show and I don't even care because I know they got a seed. So what am I going to answer to that question? I think you.
Well,
know, listening to our show recently.
I'm
afraid
I'm going to say
going 0-2. Sorry, everybody.
You're afraid? Wait, you're going to say 0-2? Oh,
did you see that?
Okay. Oh, wow.
Wait,
you were really close.
That was really close. That was as close as I've ever done. I see my own face on camera.
It's really
maybe that's what I need.
You were 80% there.
Yeah,
I was 80 to 90% closed. With the other one being open
on camera, so that I can learn to wink. I'll teach myself to wink. But 0-2.
Oh,
Can't
sure.
hang with OU.
Yeah.
Tough road environment. They're playing really well.
Yeah.
And Arkansas is just a wagon, so they're gonna go 0-2.
That's you know on Brendan's path there.
Did I even take Mississippi State in the picks of the week?
No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
No, you did take Mississippi State in the picks of the week.
Did?
You said
Crap.
Mississippi State would win, and then picks of the week. You went ahead and said they'd cover +1, but
I'm doing everything I can, and so far it's working. So
there you go. I think they'll go 1-1, but
don't say that with a sad voice. That would be a quad 1 win,
very
and a quad
good.
1 loss.
Yeah, nothing to be ashamed of about that. 11-7 in conference play. That's pretty darn good. Up next, we'll talk with Larissa Anderson of Mizzou softball Tigers. 2-2 this past weekend, the Mizzou Invitational. We'll talk about how that went for them as they get ready for SEC play themselves. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGI.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou men's basketball on Saturday defeated Mississippi State 88-64 to earn their 20th win overall on the season and their 10th win in conference play. Tigers Now venture on in their final week of the regular season at Oklahoma Tuesday, and Saturday they'll host Arkansas. They start the week in a spot where they would be in a double bye situation for the SEC tournament. They need to be in the top 4, and currently they are tied for 4th, winning the tiebreaker against Kentucky and Tennessee currently. Mizzou women's basketball is the 14 seed in the SEC tournament on the women's side this week in Greenville, South Carolina. Tigers lost their regular season finale to Oklahoma yesterday, 84-78. They'll face the 11 seed Alabama on Wednesday. Tip-off slated for approximately 7:30. You'll hear it on 100.5 FM KTGR. And Oli Marmol extended as the Cardinals manager 2 more seasons past 2026. He also has a club option for 2029. Cardinals start their season officially at home on Thursday, March 26th. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking rain chances returning tonight through tomorrow with a few scattered rumbles of thunder. We may see dry time in southern Missouri tomorrow, allowing temperatures to climb into the low 60s, but showers and storms will continue through the middle of the week. Wednesday may even see a few stronger storms midday. Thursday does look like we briefly could see some sunshine, with temperatures climbing into the 70s, maybe near 80 by Friday. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
All right, you there?
No.
All right. All right. I can do Mizzou hoops. You can do Will Carroll. You can go from there.
Okay.
Hey, it's Andy and Brendan. We're back Tuesday to preview Mizzou basketball against Oklahoma. How will the Tigers do as they start their final week of the regular season?
Plus, the beat marches on through the MLB season and the World Baseball Classic, so we'll catch up with Will Carroll, the injury expert, on baseball injuries.
Join us on YouTube and Facebook. All right, that'll work.
All righty.
Cool. See ya.
See ya.
$18.51 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. A auto claim came when my wife was rear-ended. Everyone was safe, but that left a lot of cosmetic damage on her brand new car. We called Phyllis, said, hey, this is what happened, and she's made it a very streamlined process. Phyllis lined out our rental car and made everything just so easy. And having 3 kids and losing a vehicle is a big deal, but Phyllis went to bat for us, got everything lined out, and made it a very easy process.
Farming comes with pride and pressure. Long days, unpredictable weather, rising costs, and worries that don't quit. You don't have to carry that stress alone. Talking helps. Show Me Strong Farm Families offers free, confidential telehealth counseling with professionals who understand agriculture. Search Show Me Strong Farm Families and take the first step. Call 573-882-4677 because talking helps. Brought to you by University of Missouri Extension.
Small businesses are the backbone of any successful community. We know, because we're a small business too. We cherish the people who live and work here, which is why we partner with so many businesses to help them grow. And over the years, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for our local children's hospital, our food bank, Central Missouri Honor Flight, and True North. If you want to work with a group of people who believe that giving is always better than getting, contact Zimmer Communications today or learn more at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here as we talk Mizzou softball now. The Tigers just got done hosting the Mizzou Invitational at the Mizzou Softball Stadium. First home games for the Tigers this year. They went 2-2. They beat Drake and Wichita State in a couple of games. They took a couple of losses to Miami of Ohio, rained out game, or really colded out games on Sunday that prevented them from getting all the games in. But the Tigers now will turn their focus to their first SEC matchup of the season. They go to Florida to take on the Gators starting on Saturday, 3-game set there. And head coach Larissa Anderson joins us now on The Big Show. Coach, this past weekend, getting into your home stadium for the first time for some games, I know it was once again kind of up and down for your group. How did you see them working through Friday and Saturday to try and get as many wins as possible?
One, it was great to play in front of our home crowd. I mean, it was nice to see the turnout. I think we had over 2,100 both Saturday and Sunday. So that was great to be able to play at home and get in a home game routine. Definitely would have liked to go away with 3 or 4 wins. Miami's a really, really strong offensive team. They did an unbelievable job. They played better than us. They capitalized on a lot of their opportunities. But I will say that the 2 wins that we did have, they were very convincing. Very, very convincing wins. And it was great to see what the potential is. I thought we had a great pitching outing out of McCann on Saturday against Drake. And I thought our offense did really well against Drake and Wichita. And we just need to have some more consistency. What I think we are doing well is we're having better quality at bats and we're getting on base. We are leaving a lot on base. We got to have some hitters that are producing and capitalizing when we do have opportunities to be able to score.
And certainly, and especially in the game against Drake, when you got so many runs very early on in the game, eventually against Wichita, your girls put up some strong numbers in the 4th and 5th to be able to take control there. Just to do it in bunches, I'm sure it was also been a goal. How have you kind of seen them kind of get momentum inning by inning as they worked through those couple of games there?
I think the Drake game was, in particular, being able to score with 2 outs was impressive. That's something that we haven't really done very well. Abby Hay really got that ball rolling in the first inning, being able to capitalize with her first RBI. And then we had, I think, 5 quality at-bats in a row where we scored. So, you have to be able to do that. You get 2 outs and you just have to continue to have a quality at bat and pass the bat and not feel that the inning's over just because you had 2 outs. It was just disappointing in the Miami game and how many people we left on base. So one of our goals is to be able to have 50% quality at bats, and we were well over 60% that game. But again, it comes down to the player in the box at that moment and letting the game come to you. And when I think we drew 10 walks against Miami, we still have to be very patient in those RBI situations and not feel like we have to hit the ball to score. If the ball is a ball, it's telling you not to swing, and we just have to have better composure in those situations.
Larissa Anderson, Mizzou softball head coach here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Was there anything different that Miami's pitchers were showing in those situations as you tried to capitalize on those opportunities?
No, they were very consistent. We just swung at balls, and we had opportunities, and then again, hitters want to hit, and they feel that they have to drive in runs. But again, if the pitch is not there, you can't do anything with it. And if it's telling you to take it, then you got to take it and have a better quality at bat. I don't think that they made any adjustment. I feel that we made the adjustment in trying to do too much.
So as you kind of looked offensively for what your group was able to do, and again, some positive showings this weekend, and certainly from Abby Hay, who has been your leading hitter all season long now, and starting to add some more of that power that she has showcased in the past. How have you kind of seen her kind of lead this group in that charge of getting the offense going, and also just we talked about her growth, how she has been stepping forward in that sense?
She has much better pitch selection that I've seen so far this year than she did previously last year, in understanding what pitches she should be looking for and what she should be taking. So that's really where it starts, to get her more comfortable and get her on time. And I don't see that she's really deviating from that regardless of what the situation is. So just to continue to work on with her and not trying to do too much, not feeling like the game is all in her hands. She's getting great support around her. So we just have to continue to support them the whole way through. What we do need is more production at the bottom of the lineup. That's where it's really coming down to, and 7, 8, 9 to be able to get some production there to turn the lineup over for the top.
For sure. And also near the top of that order, Sydney Forrester really putting together some strong showing, some strong weekends at the plate. What's been the difference for her in her freshman season, starting to keep that consistency up?
She understands the game within the game a little bit more than your typical freshman. She knows what her strengths are offensively. She knows what pitches she should be looking for. She's very, very consistent in her approaches and her demeanor. That's probably the most impressive thing. Like, she doesn't get too outside of herself and start chasing balls. So just making sure that she continues to keep that composure.
Larissa Anderson, Mizzou softball head coach here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. On the pitching side, I know McCann had a lot of workload this weekend, being able to finish off a run roll win, but also pitching a whole game against Miami, Ohio, where she goes the full distance, but obviously unable to come up with the win as she struggled in a few spots. But it seemed that Miami was the team, as you mentioned, that caused the most issues there, maybe for your pitching staff. How did you see them try to work through those struggles in those couple of games?
And that was the reason why I left McCann in that first game that she threw on Friday. I wanted her to work through her struggles. I wasn't going to go out and bail her out. Like, she's a junior. She knows what she's capable of doing. Sometimes you have to fight through some of that adversity, and it's your choice to determine how long that adversity is. You don't have a choice on what it is, but you have a choice on how long it's going to take you to get through it. So I wanted her to fight through that adversity, and she did. She didn't back down. She got better as the game went on. She got more competitive. And I think that really carried over to Saturday, and it was a real growth and learning experience for her.
And so as you now the bulk of the non-conference games are done and you're about to start conference play, I know the 7-13 mark, obviously something you want to improve on, but just as you've kind of seen this team work step by step to try and progress towards this moment of conference play beginning, how close do you think they are to being ready for those spots?
I mean, we're close. We're just not consistent with how close we are. And that's where we need to be better. We have our moments. We have some of our peaks. We just have to be able to put those games back to back to back. We'll have really, really good outings and we're really high. And then we look like a different team the next game that we play. And, you can attribute that to the immaturity and the youngness of our team. There's a lot of different factors that could come into play, but that's what I'd like to see them do, is put together consistent outings back to back and never be satisfied. We got to take on that blue collar mentality and that underdog mentality that we got to go out and try to prove something every single day. And that's what we're really trying to focus on and work towards.
Larissa Anderson, Mizzou softball head coach here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. Does conference play kind of bring that mentality out a little bit more once that time of year starts? Or is there any difference with how you want them to kind of approach it, coming off of traveling a bunch and then having to go back out on the road here to face a Florida team?
I mean, there's definitely a lot more hype, that's for sure. There's a lot more at stake, and, the SEC, it just means more. And, this weekend we're going to be playing on a national stage, especially with a Monday night game. So different pressure. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. But again, the game doesn't care. The game doesn't care you're playing on Monday night football. The game doesn't care that you're playing conference play. We got to go out and we got to make sure that we control what we can control. And that's being competitive. We got to fight. We got to be competitive in every single pitch that we do. And we got to play 7 innings hard. That's really what I'm focusing on.
Well, any weekend is tough in the SEC, as we know. It seems that the one you're starting with is with a particularly tough team in Florida, who's only lost once so far this season at 23-1. Just how you kind of see them so far through the first slate of games that they've had as they start conference play, and how you look to maybe try and attack them.
Yeah, their numbers are clearly impressive, but I will say that we've played a much tougher schedule than Florida has at this point. The one game that they did lose against was UCLA, and looking into that game a little bit, we know what our situation was against UCLA. So I think going in that we know what the expectations are, we know the level that we need to play at. We can't get caught up in what their numbers are, their record, what their batting average is. Again, like, the game doesn't care. All that it cares about is that you execute this pitch that you're supposed to do and make sure that you're ready for it.
All right, so again, Mizzou softball begins SEC play this weekend. It'll be a Saturday to Monday series as they take on Florida down in Gainesville. Noon start on Saturday, 3 o'clock on Sunday, and then 6 o'clock on Monday as Mizzou softball starts conference play this weekend after finishing 2-2 at the Mizzou Invitational. Great to have Larissa Anderson of Mizzou softball here on the Big Show to talk about it. Coach, thanks so much for taking the time. Safe travels over to Gainesville, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Andy. MIZ.
ZOU, it's the Big Show on KTGR and the KTGR app. So again, the start for Mizzou softball at 7-13, and because you need to be above 500 to be an NCAA tournament at-large team, they now have to really pick it up. And now the conference play has started. We'll see if that happens. Florida, again, a very strong team as they have shown all season long, but maybe not as tested as Mizzou has been, as Larissa Anderson noted. We'll see if the Tigers can maybe have a strong, promising weekend and maybe even come out of there with a victory or two. We shall see, as we'll be monitoring that Saturday through Monday here on KTGR. In the meantime, thanks for joining us today. We're back at 4 o'clock tomorrow as we'll talk more Mizzou hoops. We'll talk to the injury expert, Will Carroll, and a lot more. So join us for that. Amber and Ian is coming up next, so stay tuned there. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. The sound of a seatbelt